My name is Alice Nkemokafo, and this is not the story I planned to live. If anyone had told me years ago that my life would turn out like this, full of waiting, heartbreak, betrayal, and finally, unexpected joy, I would have laughed and said, God forbid. But life has a way of humbling you. Sometimes it drags you through the mud before it lifts you to the mountain. So, sit with me, my friend. Let me tell you about love, pain, and miracles. The kind that only God Himself can write. I grew up in Okiago, a small, peaceful town in the eastern part of Nigeria. Okiago was the kind of place where everybody knew everybody. Children ran barefoot to the stream. Women sold garden eggs and pepper by the roadside, and the sound of cockcrow was our morning alarm. I was the village teacher at St. Patrick's Primary School. I loved my job. I loved the smell of chalk, the laughter of my pupils, the way their eyes brightened when they finally understood a difficult lesson. I believed teaching was my calling, and I took pride in it. I met Dave during a youth seminar in the neighboring town of Obodouku. He was everything I was not: bold, confident, and smooth talking. He was a salesman, always dressed sharp, shoes shining like mirror, and his English flowed like water. He told me, Alice, from the first day I saw you, I knew you were my peace. I blushed. I was a simple village girl. I didn't know how to handle such words. But he was serious, and before long, we got married. The first few years were sweet. We laughed a lot. We planned for the future, saved money to build a small bungalow, and dreamed of having children who would call us Mama and Papa. But dreams are sometimes cruel. The first year passed. No pregnancy. The second year, I began to worry. Dave would smile and say, "Don't worry, love. These things take time." By the fourth year, the smiles disappeared. I went from one hospital to another, took every herbal mixture the elders recommended, and prayed like Hannah in the Bible. Each month that ended without a child felt like a personal failure. In our culture, a woman without a child carries a silent label. You hear it in whispers, see it in the way people look at you. At the market, old women would stop me asking, Alice, you still haven't born? Are you waiting for a Christmas miracle? Even the church wasn't safe. During child dedication, I would clap and sing with others, but tears would sting my eyes. Dave started staying out late. He claimed he was busy with work, traveling from town to town, selling goods. But I knew he was slipping away. When I asked, he would snap. Alice, stop acting like a detective. You think I don't have better things to do than chase skirts? But deep down, I knew something had changed. Veronica has been my best friend since childhood. We were inseparable, ate together, prayed together, shared secrets. When my marriage started to shake, she was the one who stayed close. She would sit with me and say, "My sister, don't cry. God's time is the best." She became like a sister to Dave too. She visited often, bringing food, helping me with chores, even advising Dave to be patient. I didn't know that behind my back, she had become the comfort I no longer was to him. It started with small favors. She would help him iron his shirts, keep him company when I was in school, and help with meals. One night, I returned home earlier than expected. The lights were dim, but I heard laughter. Dave's deep chuckle mixed with Veronica's giggle. Something froze inside me. When I entered, they both jumped apart. Veronica's scarf was hanging loosely, and Dave couldn't even look me in the eye. I said nothing. I just turned and left. A month later, I found out she was pregnant. When Veronica told me herself, she did not even look sorry. She said, "Alice, it just happened. We didn't plan it. But maybe God was to show you that the problem was never him." Her words pierced through me like a knife. I cried for days. I couldn't eat. I couldn't teach. Every time I heard children's laughter in school, I felt my heart break again. Dave didn't even try to deny it. Instead, he packed his things and left to stay with Veronica. People talked. Oh, how they talked. Alice's friend has stolen her husband. She was too quiet. Men don't like quiet women. She must have offended God. I tried to pray, but my prayers turned to bitterness. After months of separation, I signed the divorce papers. It felt like cutting my heart open. 9 years of my life gone like smoke. Dave married Veronica not long after. They moved to Enugu and I heard she gave birth to a baby boy. I stayed back in Okeagu and focused on my work. Teaching became my therapy. Some mornings I woke up crying. Other mornings I forced myself to smile. I refused to die in shame. When people pitied me, I told them, "Don't pity me. I'm still breathing. And as long as I breathe, my story isn't over." News travels fast in the East. 2 years after their wedding, I heard Dave and Veronica were always fighting. She insulted him publicly, accused him of cheating, and once even threw his clothes out into the street. The same people who mocked me before now said, "Veronica's mouth is fire." Dave has met his match. Their marriage didn't last 5 years. She left him for another man. I didn't rejoice. I just whispered, "God sees all things." Time passed. I grew older, stronger, and more peaceful. By 43, I had accepted my life as it was. I wasn't bitter anymore. I taught, read books, and served in my church's women's fellowship. That was when I met Larry. He was gentle, soft-spoken, and always smiling. He was a widower raising his teenage daughter alone. He didn't try to impress me with words like Dave did. Instead, he showed kindness, fixing my broken fence, walking me home after church, and helping me carry my basket from the market. He said to me one evening, "Alice, I don't know much about your past, but I know peace when I see it. And you bring me peace." I laughed. I told him, "Peace is not free. You must earn it." But I saw something in him, sincerity. When he proposed, I hesitated. "At my age?" I asked. He smiled and said, "Love doesn't keep a calendar." So at 45, I got married again. A small wedding, no fanfare, just family, friends, and the pastor's blessing. People whispered again, "At her age? What is she looking for?" But this time I didn't care. I had learned that people will always talk no matter what you do. One morning, a year after our marriage, I woke up feeling strange. My body felt heavy, my appetite changed, and I couldn't stand the smell of palm oil. Larry laughed and said, "Maybe you're pregnant." I rolled my eyes. "I beg, don't joke with such things." But he insisted we go for a test. When the doctor said I was pregnant, I laughed so hard I started crying. I thought it was a mistake, but it wasn't. After almost 20 years of waiting, my womb had opened. The entire village rejoiced with me. Even people who once mocked me came to my house singing songs of joy. Larry was over the moon. He treated me like an egg, always praying, always checking on me. 9 months later, I gave birth to twins, 2 boys. I named them Chisom and Chibuike. God is with me, and God is power. Their first cries healed everything inside me. All the years of shame, all the nights of tears, all the mockery, it vanished in that moment. A few months later, Dave heard the news. He came to visit me one afternoon uninvited. When I saw him standing by my gate, his once proud shoulders had fallen. He looked older, tired, defeated. He said softly, "Alice, I heard God has blessed you." I nodded. Yes, he has. He sighed deeply, then said, "You were always the one. I was foolish. Veronica destroyed everything." I looked at him for a long time. The man I once cried over now looked like a stranger. I simply said, "Dave, God gives everyone a chance. You had yours." He nodded, tears filling his eyes. "I know. I just wanted to say I'm sorry." I forgave him, not for his sake, but for my own peace. When he left, I carried my twins in my arms and whispered, "God, you do all things well." Now, when I stand in front of my house watching my children play, I smile. I am living proof that delay is not denial, that even after betrayal, a woman can rise again. People still call me Mama Twins in Okeagu. Children run to me after school shouting, "Teacher Alice!" And sometimes, when young women come to me crying about their own struggles, I hold their hands and say, "My daughter, if life delays you, don't give up. God is never late. He's just writing a better story." So, that's my story of love, pain, betrayal, and redemption. I am Alice Nkemokafo. Once I was called barren. Now I am called blessed. And to every woman out there who is still waiting, still hoping, still crying, hold on. Because when your morning finally comes, the whole world will see that the same God who turned my tears into triumph can do it for you too.